It's gonna be huge. Businesswomen, post-apocalyptic society, concubinage, party in your mouth. It's gonna be huge.
So let me tell you a story. In April, I was in Mexico. My sister was getting married down there. The very first day, an interesting thing happens. About 6 o'clock in the afternoon, we run into my sister's fiancé. He's already pretty drunk, and he's trying to convince me to get drunk with him, saying, "There's no consequences, you don't have to be to work tomorrow, nothing to get in the way of this." Well, about 20 minutes later, he ran into the ocean, ripped his foot open on a rock or a broken bottle, and was rushed to the hospital. Stitches all up and down his foot, $15,000 hospital bill if he didn't have the health insurance, which is why you should always get health insurance. Also, while I was down there, though, I tried just about every cocktail I could get my hands on. See, I'm not really a beach person, so although there was Chichen Itza and Tulum and a few other things to do there, there wasn't really much in my particular interest. So I looked up a few cocktails, things I wouldn't buy here in Ontario, and I just tried them out, because the alcohol's all included anyway. I tried things like caipirinha, caipiroska, vodka martini, shaken, not stirred, man o' war, which I'd never heard of before, Godfather, a big titty hoe on a motorcycle, type of drink you have to get just for the name, and the very aptly named End of the World. Then the rest of the week goes on. We go to Chichen Itza, Tulum. There's a very interesting travel log on my website. You can read about this. We landed, coming back, on the Thursday. I had about 4 hours to unpack, clean the house, get ready, before my friend Andrew, who records my audiobooks, was coming in from Ottawa. I picked him up about 8 o'clock that night, and over the course of the next weekend, we sat down to record The Pirate's Lass, a story of the Mongolian Book of the Sky, the third such novella to take place within this universe. Well, here's the other thing. In Mexico, despite the fact that it was a 5-star resort, all the alcohol was watered down. So, at no point during the week was I hungover. Even on the night of my sister's wedding, where I got drunk enough to record a drunken rambling message that I regrettably put on Facebook, I had a tied-up balloon on my head and a tie-dye glow stick around my neck. I never actually was hungover the next morning. But when you get back to Ontario and all the stuff is not watered down, it catches up to you a little bit more quickly. So about halfway through the recording of The Pirate's Lass, this is on the Saturday, probably about noon on Saturday we began drinking. Casually at first, but we had a bit of a house party that night. And over the course of the remainder of the day, I drank a couple of White Russians, what I'm calling a double rye knife, which is equal parts Canadian rye and Baileys, or Irish cream, a couple of soju Yakult cocktails with Korean soju, not strong, but still adds to it, a shot of Chinese baijiu, and, of course, the newly learned End of the World, which, by the way, is equal parts bourbon, vodka, and 151. Some point during the night, we had the brilliant idea, hey, why don't we resume recording? This was maybe not the best idea. Luckily, no part of the story got messed up. I didn't miss anything, but I did wind up with a 45-minute long file that I had to trim down to a mere 8 minutes. This is why probably a good half of the bloopers has nothing to do with stumbling on words or rants about Mongolian names, but instead is just endless rambling about Stockwell Day or Arnold Schwarzenegger or figures like that, Blackbeard. Now, on to The Pirate's Lass. So picture a post-apocalyptic world where we're all back to riding horses, firing bow and arrows. There's no more guns, all the bullets have been spent. The upper crust of this civilization is Mongol warlords, the sort of thing that you'd see in 12th century Eurasia. This is the premise of my series, The Mongolian Book of the Sky, which I first introduced the world to with the short novella The Conquest of Concour Cane, which is a free audiobook that was released on my website, also on this YouTube channel. This was followed up by One Night Nick Coulon, which is a second novella that also takes place in that universe. And then, just 2 months ago, the novel, the first novel in the series, The Hounds of Harrigan, a massive 1,300-page tome, was finally released after 4 years of working on it. Now, we have a third. I am proud to announce The Pirate's Lass, a story of the Mongolian Book of the Sky. This is just under 3 hours long, and is also available for free in audio form, recorded by my good friend Andrew Bunton. Available on my website and on this YouTube channel. Taking place a few years before the events of the Hounds of Harrigan, it deals with a character that shows up midway through the novel with a backstory that's referenced. Her name is Penelope Humberton, and it's referenced that she had a run-in with desert bandits some years before. Well, this is that story. The story of when she went out into the desert on a camel train and ran into an ungodly situation with these desert brigands. She runs into a brutalized, traumatized young woman and is faced with the prospect of having to actually deal with these beasts in the desert. As with the other two novellas, there is, as I mentioned, a lengthy blooper reel here as well. This one's over 20 minutes long. I have not divided it along subject like I did with One Night Nick Coulon, as there was no apparent subjects that emerged. It's just one long ramble that kind of goes in and out of the story itself. By the way, at some point during the blooper reel, you will hear me reference the fact that someone tried to get me drunk and then ran into the ocean. Enjoy.
That's my review for your entire series. It's bazooka-rific.